Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Short One. We have something to discuss. CCL has dropped all teams and players yesterday. So we finally know what's gonna happen in terms of like who's playing for what team, what kind of synergies will we see. And yeah, let's jump into it right away actually. I think there's some very surprising rosters to me as well. Let's talk about it a little bit. So let's use this first, and then we hop over to Liquipedia, because Liquipedia is a little bit more, the overview is a bit easier, and it has the flags as well and so on. But let's go through every team actually. So we start with 30k. This is the superstar NA roster that was rumored about. So Liam, Kettle, Madara, Legacy, Cure, and B-Kit. Yes, Cure is back. No, Cura's not gonna play offlane, that's Liam's job. Cura's gonna play range flex. And they reactivated Kettle as well. One of the best tanks in NA. We've seen him before in CCL, and especially when he started to play with Chili Mountain, he elevated the team to a new level. So yeah, looks like a very strong roster to me. Legacy, one of the best supports over there. Madara, a very young range carry, but you know, certainly very, very strong as well. This looks like a, yeah, the NA super roster, you know? Kind of what you would dream of. Let's hop over. Chili Mountain is next. And we just talked about the NA super roster. Chili Mountain kind of has the European super roster, you know? It's basically Team Wa. Most people are, like, if you're watching tournaments, you're probably familiar with those guys. Banana, Ultralisk, Dequaza, Masquerade, Dino, and then Make is their stand-in. We've seen an iteration of this lineup in many different tournaments. Also at the Chili Mountain LAN, for example, they played with Make as a stand-in, and Nagrom actually. But yeah, the finest players that you can find in Europe. I mean, yeah, it's a super strong roster, right? Let's see. Diamond Hands. We have Godfield, Caesar Salad, Nentori, Kelsia, Hebi, and Unaverted. They kind of kept the core from last season. They made some small changes. I think Hebi and Unaverted are new in the roster, but they kept the core. They had like I'd say an on and off season last, like in season 3. Sometimes they look very strong, and then other weeks they didn't look as good. But you know, these guys are playing together for a while already, so I'm looking forward to see them again. So I think they are actually pretty good roster as well. Granite Gaming. So this is one of the first big talking points, right? Because when we look at the names here, starts with Azerite, Breeze, Woobies, Maxi, Polk, and Quacknix. That's, you know, what kind of a roster is that? It's basically an old legendary HEC team getting together here. Apart from Azerite, you know. Gotta get some new blood in, but we've seen these guys playing the Masters Clash qualifiers, and actually they qualified. It wasn't easy for them, but they made it. And yeah, it's, to my knowledge, Quacknix is their official 6th, so we will see him only if they need a stand-in. And the others are the starting roster. I mean, I think for them it comes down to how much do they practice, how serious do they take it. Certainly the talent is there. Yeah. Somewhat of a European super roster as well, right? But from a different timeline. Let's come to Oxygen. Oxygen! Yeah, that's the Hardos guys. We got picked up by Oxygen. We are playing together. Same roster as in Masters Clash, same roster as in every other tournament that we play together. So Copenhagen, Benny, Nick, Yasu, myself, and then we picked up Rutzo as our 6th man. We talked about it briefly before the season, before Masters Clash as well, because he kind of, yeah, didn't play with the donuts anymore, and then in the CCL he also didn't, it wasn't that easy for him. But he's a fantastic player, right? We played with Rutsu in the first Masters Clash qualifier, and we actually beat Team Wa as well with him. Like, he's an astounding player. So it's a very good 6th player for us to have to fill in. Let's come to Simplicity. Simplicity is the biggest surprise for me. We have names, and when you look at the names, you probably have no idea who these are, and I actually have no idea who these are. And that might be just me being not aware of the Korean scene, but I think these are rather unknown players, apart from Porky. He was already in... I mean, wait, he is not Korean, right? But he was already part of some of the tournament rosters that we've seen. But yeah, Abdo, L3ERR, Wishing, Dulal, Porky, and then Slips. And someone yesterday in Twitch chat told me that Slips is Canadian. So they basically have 4 Koreans and then 2 NA players. I don't know exactly what the starting roster looks like. I don't know who's like the core 5 and who's the stand-in. But I mean, this has to be the most interesting lineup, at least for me. Like, I have no idea how they're gonna perform. Keep in mind, CCL is getting played on NA server, so everyone that plays overseas, the Asian guys, the Europeans, they're gonna struggle with ping, right? It's definitely a handicap, but I mean, it's something we are aware of before we sign up, so you just try to make the best of it. The Koreans do have the highest ping though, so that's definitely something to remember when you see them play later on. Alright, we got 2 more teams left. One of them is Storm. We see a couple of familiar names over here. Lauber, CPX, June, Swamp, Nasmas, and Mokka. I don't know 100% what the starting roster looks like, especially when I look at CPX, Mokka, and Nasma. I think Nasmas is in the starting roster, but I don't know who the second range / flex is gonna be. We will find out, but it's a mix out of Europeans and NA players. I mean, looks kind of strong to me as well, actually, I have to say. And I mean, it's nice to see like Lauber and Swamp getting picked up, right? Or finding a team to play CCL in. The last team is going to be Wild Heart Esports. They made a couple of changes, but they kept the core as well. So we will see Zergling, Weary Day, Mason Blaze, IB Tings, Roger, and Haben. I guess one big surprise is going to be their main tank. It is a Korean player. So it's like 5 NA player, 1 Korean. Potentially on the most important role, right? Main tank. Like we all know, main tanks are very rare in this game. It especially showed in CCL over and over again. But yeah, they picked them up. I'm very curious to see them play, actually. Wild Heart, always a very kind of tough opponent to play against. Let's hop over to Wikipedia real quick. So, pause this here. So, real quick, I mean, I'll drop it in the description below, right, if you want to read up about CCL and such, but basically it's the 4th season. This season also has an offline event coming up at the end. The top 4 teams are qualified. CCL is gonna pay accommodation and the flight. And yeah, basically down here, the players once again with the according country flag. And then we see the 4 Koreans, yeah, 2 NA players, and Haben is as well. So we do have a few Koreans back in the league. We do have this insane NA roster. We have, I mean, the Chili Mountain European roster. We have the Granite European roster. We have ours, right? There is, it's very stacked actually, I think, this season. Very interesting. And if you wonder, when does that all start? How long do we have to wait? Well, not that long, because the first week of the games, starting the first weekend in May, actually May 7th, and the opening match is nothing but Oxygen versus Chili Mountain. I'm playing in the opening match, and I'm a bit scared actually. Chili Mountain is a very fierce opponent to start off against, but you know, you gotta play against them all. And I mean, I think it's a pretty good match to start off the league. The same evening, we will see Granite versus Diamond Hands, so the old school HEC boys versus the, you know, the NA youngster roster, I would call them. And then on Sunday, 8th of May, Storm versus 30k and Simplicity versus Wildheart. And then the rest of the dates you can check out for yourself. But that's basically what's coming up, guys. What do you think? Wait, let me bring it up real quick. When you look at the rosters, what do you think about them? Do you think it's an improvement compared to the seasons before, where we had the captain's draft format, or the draft format for the players? Because this time the organizations picked up whole teams, right? Whole rosters. So we're going to see more synergy, I would say. Not necessarily, but yeah, I think you get my point. The people were able to pick their own teammates. That's basically what it comes down to. I would like to know two things, and leave a comment in the in the comments below. But what's the spiciest roster? Who do you think has the most exciting roster? I think. And then the other one, how does the top 8 look to you? What is the power ranking? Who do you think is on top? Who do you think is on the bottom? And yeah, I thank you for sharing your time with me. And I'll see you guys on Twitch again. We play, Masters Clash every weekend. We soon gonna play CCL every weekend as well. And in between, lots of Storm League streams. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.